Have you ever wondered how exactly do you make a fruit leather or fruit glass?
Well, today we're going to find out by using an ingredient called Pure-Cote. Stick around here on WTF. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, the owner of Modernist Pantry. So today we are working here in the test kitchen with a product called Pure-Cote. And Pure-Cote allows anyone to make a beautiful fruit leather or fruit glass. So Scott, what exactly is a fruit leather or glass, and what role does Pure-Cote play in that?
So we'll start with Pure-Cote because a lot of people are going to notice that there's a trend in what we talk about here is it's a modified cornstarch.
Yes.
And you can see that you can do a lot of modifications to cornstarch to allow it to do many different things.
Yes.
With Pure-Cote, this allows you to add it to a liquid, and this actually has the Pure-Cote mixed into it. It's been heated, so some people would think like, oh, why isn't it thick like if you add regular cornstarch to it?
Exactly.
Because that's what the modification does. It allows it just to have the right properties to make something like fruit leather or fruit glass. So I'm going to show you a demo of just how to get this onto a pat and then into a dehydrator. This is an Excalibur Dehydrator, which we actually sell here at Modernist Pantry.
Okay.
And to get this, I just took a flavorful liquid. It could be strawberry juice, it could be any juice you want. This is very forgiving. You can add anything to it. You're going to add in the Pure-Cote, blend it up. You can whisk it if you want to. It mixes in very easily. Heat it, and then you're just going to spread it out. And when you spread it out onto a pat, you want it to be about 1/8 of an inch thick.
And how thick is that for people without
For reference, if you don't have the chef measuring scale in your eyes, that's about the thickness of a nickel.
Okay.
Okay. So we're just gonna gently spread it out. We don't have to be extremely precise with this because it is going to move and shift. It is a liquid. So I'm just gonna spread it out. If you get these little bits here, that's fine. You just push them into place.
Okay.
It's very easy. And this is about 1/8 of an inch thick. You just don't want a big puddle because sometimes these will bow.
Right.
And you don't want that because the middle will be like a fruit leather and the outside will be like a fruit glass.
Okay.
Granted, the outside will generally be a little bit crispier than the inside, but that's fine because we have the ability to trim this too, which is a nice attribute.
So always make a little bit more than what you actually need, so that way you can trim it down.
Yes, and then you can probably get 2 uses out of it too if you don't want to dry it for the amount of time. So I take this and I'm going to put it into my fruit dehydrator. And we want to have this around 135 degrees because we don't want to change the flavor of what we're doing. We don't want to cook it any further. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to slide it in very easily. Remember, we're not trying to shift what we just did. And then here is our fruit leather. And you can see that outside where we talked about it's really thin and like kind of crackly.
Okay.
But with the fruit leather, we just take scissors, like kitchen scissors or shears. You just trim out whatever shapes you want, and they're nice and pliable, and they're chewy, and they're great. You can wrap items in this, or you can just use it as a garnish on a plate. And obviously, it can be any flavor you really want.
So this is like your classic fruit roll-up that you might get from a store, but better because you made it yourself.
You made it yourself. You chose the flavors. I know we talked a little bit about like savory flavors and whatnot, but really, when you're starting to do this, I would absolutely suggest with Pure-Cote, use some sort of sugar because you're going to get the best results at that. Then you can get into trying to play with the savory flavors and less sugar. But the sugar levels really play a good part in making this nice, elastic kind of texture. But if we let it go...
And do we have any ratios or a general idea how much sugar should be in here?
I usually go around like 30 to 40% of the liquid. So it is a sweet item at that point. And remember, that was 8 to 12 hours for the fruit leather. But if we let it go for 18 to 24 hours, we get something that is more crisp and cracking. And that's actually what we have on our dessert over here. So if we take this, we can definitely see like a nice snap. It shatters in my hands.
So that's the glass right there.
Yes, that's the glass right here. So this is between 18 to 24 hours. And what that does is it pulls out any extra moisture content that is in there. So it's just leaving the Pure-Cote, the sugar, and the flavor. So it intensifies the flavor. And it will be a little chewy because that's the all the sugar that's in there.
Yeah, it's really good.
One thing you do need to worry about is if it is humid, put this into an airtight container. If you have a silica packet, toss it in there. You don't want to waste all that work that you did to get something like this, especially if it took 24 hours.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but we prepped this a little bit in advance, and it's, when it first came out, it was super, super
you can
snappy,
definitely,
and it's already started softening.
You can still get the snap around the
Yeah.
edges, but definitely the thicker parts will start absorbing that moisture as soon as possible. It is a humid day today.
So if somebody made glass and they wanted to store it for service later, can they put it in the freezer? Like, would that help, or it really has to be basically, make it fresh?
Like a mason jar, I would put it right in there,
Okay.
and if you leave it out, it should be fine.
Okay.
In the freezer, yes, but it needs to be covered completely because there is moisture that is moving around inside of a freezer,
Okay.
even on a small scale.
Right.
And that could just turn it into, gumminess.
And if someone doesn't have a dehydrator, although if you don't have a dehydrator, we highly suggest you get one.
Yeah.
They're so versatile. You can dry fruit in it, make like fruit chips and
Yes.
vegetable chip, anything, a chip.
Really great things in
Yeah.
here.
But if you don't have one and you're budgeting for one, but you want to get started
Yeah.
right now.
So if you have a pilot light on your oven,
Okay.
it's very easy to just toss it on a sheet pan with baking paper or usually wax paper. It's much easier to peel off of wax paper. Just right in there on the pilot light. You can even crack the door a little bit. If you have a very low setting or a warming oven,
Okay.
On the bottom, you can put it
Okay.
right in there. I like it with the window so I can kind of see, so I'm not constantly going in and out and
Right.
just taking away all that heat. But
Right.
yes, the oven works just fine at home.
Okay. All right. So that's definitely a great option. And we have right here, something that
Yeah, so
Scott had
I whipped
prepared.
this up, and I have strawberries left over from the season, so I made a bunch of strawberry fruit leather and fruit glass. So I put the fruit glass on there with a caramelized white chocolate Cremeux that I made and some chocolate curds, and just threw together something so we could have a snack after the WTF today.
Yeah, we definitely will. So this is just an example of how you can use fruit glass. And then if you do have a fruit leather, like what might you do with that in the kitchen?
Actually, a really common thing these days, especially out in California where they're progressive, is to take ketchup and make fruit leather out of ketchup and then put it on burgers. So if you make like a really light, not too dense of a fruit leather, you can put it onto a burger and you get a really intense ketchup flavor.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
Do you think we can make? Probably can't make our bacon jam into fruit leather.
We could try.
There's a lot of sugar in it. So yeah, maybe one day. All right, cool. So when you're doing this, is there anything else that people should keep in mind when they're using Pure-Cote in order to make a fruit leather or glass?
Pure-Cote is very easy to use. I think there's not much that you have to worry about, acidity levels, calcium levels, anything like that, which many ingredients you have to be aware of. With Pure-Cote, very simple to use. The only thing you have to worry about is that humidity and the sugar levels. If you're starting out, stick with the recipe that's going to be on blog.modernistpantry.com.
Okay.
Learn from that, and then you can adapt into whatever you want to try and make.
Right.
But Pure-Cote's a very simple ingredient to use to just put right in there and go, and it will make fruit leather and it will make fruit glass.
Cool. So with Pure-Cote, because there is such a kind of a bit of a range in terms of time, it is something that you have to keep an eye on. Some people like just tell me 10 hours, but we can't say that. It really depends on what they're working with.
Yeah, it's all about feel. So
Yeah.
if it looks like what we showed, that kind of waviness in the fruit leather, if there's a little stretch to it, that's fruit leather. If it's starting to crack and be crisp, that's fruit glass.
Yeah. So depending on where you are and what you're making, everyone's going to be a little bit different, but you'll have a lot of fun trying. So here from the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Scott Guerin. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you want these great recipes and these awesome ingredients, first you're going to have to like, comment, and subscribe. And then you're going to go to blog.modernistpantry.com where you can find those awesome recipes and you can ask a chef. And to get these great ingredients, go to modernistpantry.com. And until next time, we'll be here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen helping you transform food.